Is good, everybody? Welcome in A to Z Sports Philly Game Day live show. Eagles Commanders halftime live. The Eagles trail 17-10 here in week 4 as they progress through this first half. To be honest, a pretty ugly game to watch so far. You're going up against a division opponent, and right now, let's be brutally honest, you're struggling. You're struggling in a lot of facets in this game. Now, you look towards the second half, there's a lot of opportunity to win this game. Washington is by no means setting the world on fire, but they are doing everything they need to do to stay composed, stay in this game, and the Eagles are playing right into it. They're letting them dictate this game so far. So we'll talk about the good, the bad, but let me know your thoughts down in the comment section right now. How do you feel after watching that first half? Do you have confidence that the Philadelphia Eagles can come back and win this football game at the Link, at home, right? Jalen Hurts 20-1 in his last 21 regular season games. The only loss came against Washington, and it was last year when the Eagles were undefeated. They starting off 8-0, and they go out and they lose to Washington. Now, I know division games can be scrappy. They can be tight. They can be tough to pull out. But right now, the Eagles' identity is nowhere to be found, and they have to make a lot of adjustments here in the second half if they want to win this football game. And that's how I'm feeling right now. Give me your thoughts in the chat. The Eagles, again, trail 17-10 after the first half. And to be honest with you, the number one thing that is pissing me off about this game is the uncharacteristic and timely mistakes. Right now, the Philadelphia Eagles have 6 penalties in this first half. Have they even had 6 penalties in a game all year? If so, maybe 6 or 7, but they have played very clean football up to this point. And you just have really, really, really bad mistakes that this Eagles team usually does not make today. You have the holding on James Bradbury there down near the end of the first half on a 3rd and 8. Early in the game, the first drive, a 3rd and 11. You had a holding on Zach Cunningham. Now, again, some of these penalties are a bit iffy. I would like to see more replay. Of course, the broadcast doesn't want to show it. But, Zach Cunningham, that penalty. You have the tush push early in the game around the 50-yard line. The Eagles get called for an offsides. An offsides on the offense. We're going to talk about that play more in just a second. You have that. How about Terrell Edmunds? Wide open in the end zone. Wide open. He drops an interception. The Eagles have had a really tough time getting pressure today, but they finally get to Sam Howell. And Terrell Edmunds, the ball's literally floated up, handed to you on a silver platter, and you can't come down with a pick. Both of those mistakes, that and the early holding, ended up leading to touchdowns. You probably could have held them to 6 points, but then, you give up these couple touchdowns, and that's kind of been the story of this game, man. Bad penalties and missed opportunities. So the Eagles got to clean it up. Right now on the offensive side, obviously Sean Desai's gotten a lot of credit. He needs to clean it up. He needs to get creative here, find ways to get to Sam Howell. The Eagles' identity has been this defensive line. We talked about, coming into this week, the Washington defensive line, the Eagles defensive line. Right now, the Washington defensive line is probably winning a matchup. They haven't really sacked Jalen Hurts, but, they have forced him out of the pocket many times. Jordan Mailata has gotten beat a few times by Chase Young. And, man, it's been a tough game in that aspect. Both teams have 2 sacks, but, other than that 3rd down sack the Eagles had late in the first half, they haven't really gotten a lot of pressure. Sam Howell's coming off a game where he threw 4 interceptions. You got to put him on the ground, man. Right now, the Eagles' defensive line has not really gotten him. Now, again, they are getting the ball out quick. Couple early passes to Terry McLaurin. They're running the ball. They're getting creative, right? Eric Bieniemy, creative offensive mind. But you have to find ways. Sam Howell's 13 for 17 right now with 161 yards. And the Eagles have not been able to establish really any offense. I know Jalen went 7 for 7 on the first drive. Washington comes out in this game, and I wrote it down. They had, a 7.5-minute drive to begin the game. And then the costly penalty, 7:08 to begin on the first drive. The second drive for the Commanders was 3:21. They went right down, marched down again. The Eagles answered with a 6.5-minute drive of their own. But outside of that first drive, the Eagles' offense has been stale. No pre-snap motion, no creativity. A couple curls to A.J. Brown, one slant to Dallas Goedert. Why are the Eagles not utilizing their playmakers? That's what I'm wondering, man. Why are the Eagles not utilizing their playmakers? DeAndre Swift out of the backfield. They tried to get the running game going, 6 carries for 20 yards. They haven't been able to open up anything, but I feel like they completely went away from the run. They completely went away from the run. They didn't even give it a shot after the first quarter. And, essentially you're becoming one-dimensional in this game. Now, again, Devontae Smith had a great catch there on the last drive. The Eagles had another chance to do the tush push. They end up converting it. And then Jalen Hurts throws a bomb. What a catch by Devontae Smith. It's nice to see him. It's nice to see him because he hasn't been utilized at all in the first half. And I know Washington, has a good core up front, but their secondary is nothing to be crazy about. And I feel like the Eagles, once again, are not utilizing all of their weapons. They're not going deep into their bag of tricks. They're just playing a very vanilla type of offense. And, man, it's been tough to watch. AJ and Devontae, have done their thing so far, but I don't know, man. And Eagle fans are not going to like me right now for saying this, but Jalen does not look the same as he did last year. I don't know what's going on. I mean, even like the little things I'm noticing on some of these runs, he just doesn't seem to have that burst anymore. And, he had a deep throw, who was it, to, I think, Devontae, and he missed him by like 5 to 10 yards. Last year, Jalen probably hits that throw. Now, it's not all on one person. It's not only on Jalen, right? He's got to throw better. The receivers got to get open. Brian Johnson's got to come up with something more creative, because if you stay one-dimensional like this in the second half, you're probably not going to win this football game. You got to get creative, man. Get DeAndre Swift going somehow in the second half. Let Kenny Gainwell compliment. Do what you need to do, because, man, it's just been a very, very, very stale game plan so far, in my opinion. And on the other side of the ball, Sean Desai, you got to get some stops, man. Force a turnover. Again, Sam Howell's coming off a game where he threw 4 picks. You're telling me these boys up front, where's Hassan Reddick at? Where's Josh Sweat at? Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Fletch, where are they at? BG. Haven't heard any of them today. Look, man, they got to come up with something in this second half. Give me your thoughts in the comments. We'll read some of them out. Shout out to everybody in here. A to Z Halftime Live. We're live every halftime and post game here on the YouTube channel. We got Andrew Hansen in the chat. He says, I think we can come back if there isn't nonsense from the refs. AJ Analysis says, our defense plays good, our offense plays bad. Prince Manito says, smash the like. Connie Mack, what's going on? I want to hear if Jeffrey went to the locker room. I want to see if the new coaches can make the right adjustments. Well, here's your first test, because we know the Eagles have not put together a full game plan, right? Here's your opportunity. How are you going to adjust at halftime, come back and dictate this game and win the football game? We're going to get some real answers here. Mark Perry says they're getting it off quick because they're playing 10 yards off the receivers. Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm a big play Slay guy, but he's got to step it up. He's playing way too far off the receivers. I don't know if that's more of scheme or just, he's getting beat. But Darius Slay has to step it up, man. Josh Jobe, I feel like he's played pretty well. James Bradbury, but Slay, you got to step it up and hold it down, man. Connie says you got to use all your tools. Quit holding back. Exactly. Where's Dallas Goedert? Where's Devontae Smith? Other than that big play, the Eagles had 88 yards of offense going down to the final minutes of the first half. 88 yards on what, 21 plays? They finally throw it down the field, and look what happens. You got to get creative, man. You're holding this team back, Brian Johnson. You're holding this team back. You have so many damn weapons, man. Get creative. And for all the people last year that constantly complained and moaned, oh, Jalen Hurts can't run the football. Jalen Hurts shouldn't run the football. Well, when you don't let him run at all, you take a dynamic offense and you kind of make it, you make it less active. You make it less threatening, right? Because when Jalen was running last year and he was tucking it, obviously he needs to slide, right? He doesn't want to take too many hits. But when Jalen's just stationary and he's just trying to stay in the pocket all day, you're taking a huge element away from this offense. And that's why I've always said, let the players do what makes them special, right? Let Jalen Hurts get creative, tuck it and run. Washington knows everything the Eagles are trying to do right now. So, yeah, man, I think the coordinators are not having their best game. I'm pretty disappointed with Sean Desai so far. I think Howell's trying to get it out quickly, but you got to get to him, man. You got to get to him. Nick Morrow had a sack. Again, Edmonds had a dropped interception. It's just been timely penalties and uncharacteristic penalties today for the Philadelphia Eagles. And the last thing I want to look at is this tush push play. But I want your thoughts, man. I want people's thoughts in the chat right now. Shout out to everybody in here. Again, hit that like button. Do you think this should have been offsides on the Eagles? Do you think it should have been offsides on both teams? What is your call on the first tush-push play that resulted in an Eagles 5-yard offsides penalty? Offsides on the offense, by the way. What do you think this call should have been? Let me know. And before I read some of your answers, shout out to our sponsor here of today's show, BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up with the code ATOZPA and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. So find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today with bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. If you think the Eagles are going to make a stellar comeback, man, go take them. Go use the code ATOZPA, man. In terms of this tush-push play, to be quite honest with you, man, I think the NFL is getting sick and tired of hearing about it. I think the Eagles are so dominant and they feel like there's a clear advantage and they want to find a way to stop the Eagles from doing it. That's what I think. Because I'm looking at the guy's hand right here. Pretty sure it's under the football. So if you're going to call a penalty on Landon Dickerson, why not call an offsetting penalty? Right? If Landon Dickerson's over the ball, what about the other guy? I mean, he's literally like, they're like 2 inches apart, him and Kelsey, and his hand is literally under the football. But, you know, it's the Philadelphia Eagles, and people are sick about it. So, you know, they're trying to stop it every way that they can. They're trying to stop it every way that they can. I mean, that's ridiculous right there. And again, the Eagles ended up doing it later in the first half. Gainwell ended up pushing Hurts over the line, but you know, they're creating a target. The Eagles are creating a target. The more this gets talked about, and you know, it's not going to go well, right? If the NFL is not happy with it either. So we'll see. Music Lover says, I want Jalen to run, but run safely and when it's best. Exactly. Got to pick your spots, but it's still an important, vital element to being a dynamic offense. Connie Max is right. If you don't have the threat of Hurts running, you lose a third of the offense. Exactly. What? I mean, Jalen Hurts ran for what? 13 touchdowns. So it's just such a vital element, and it just makes him him. There are certain things that make players great, and that was definitely a huge part last year. AJ says the Edmonds interception that didn't happen hurt my heart. Yeah, right in his hands. Shout out to Mark in here. Bo Smith. Connie says, thanks for streaming. See you after the game. Princess seems that way. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, the main adjustments you have to make if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you got to get more creative. You have to be able to get to Sam Howell in this second half, and you have to really utilize all your weapons. Going to have to probably force a turnover here and try to get the ball back and get the lead, but we saw what happened last year. Came down, and Quez Watkins had a brutal drop in the fourth, so Eagles are going to have to execute, man. They're going to have to put together a couple late drives to win this game, and hopefully they can come back and make it happen, man. But if not, you know, there will be many questions. There's been concerns throughout the prior games, but since they won, they've kind of been overshadowed. You have to make this happen. It'll be interesting to see how they make adjustments, but appreciate everybody for coming through. I will see all of you right here after the game. A to Z Sports Philly post-game live. See you right after the game. That being said, man, I appreciate everybody, and I will catch you all very soon, man. Peace.